multi-generational expectations, multi-generational aspirations, but not get overawed and pressured and stressed about it. I will want to conclude my, saying that I'm fully aware that Gen Y leader, which are today's leaders are actually more Gen Y. They are very different in the way they lead their teams and the organization than what I led or somebody who is Gen X is leading it. And some of the things, rather 2-3 things which I will leave you with, that listening to your team, speaking less but hearing their voice, giving them freedom with an overview of the goals and not micromanaging them has worked, will continue to work for time immemorial. If these 2-3 things my leaders have kept in mind, those leaders have been succeeding year on year, month on month, every day, on the verge of becoming inspiring leaders. We have an ERG, which is an American term, Employee Resource Group. I fondly call community. We have formed community, realizing the importance of multi-generations, called Bridge. And we invite Gen Z to lead that community globally. Of course, localizing it with cultural requirement of each geography. And conversations are so exciting, because when Gen Y and Gen Z, the young leaders, are leading it, a trainee who joined us yesterday in America, a fresh graduate with 3 years experience joined us in Europe. When they lead it, they not only bring their generational ideas, but they also bring a different cultural nuance. So I will rest my case by saying that multi-generational diversity is important. It is one of the most, I would say the most important nugget which is looking at us, that how we bring them on to decision-making table and boardroom table for their voice.
Great points from you, Ritu. Thank you. And I think that if I look at our journey, and if I look at the population today across the GDS, you have each and every employee wanting different things at different points in their careers. And we're able to really cater to that need. So when you look at the pre-pandemic world, flexibility was something that was, out there being spoken about, was given out depending on which company, which organization you belong to. Today, it's a given. It's non-negotiable. It's table stakes. And I believe that the ask from the generation, which is the newest generation, all born after 2001, flexibility is something that is, again, that they will value tremendously, because they're able to manage their life and their work in a more effective way. And I think that's where the conversation has shifted, which is truly that today, work is one aspect of your life. The newer generation, or the 2001 born generation, as we call the Gen Zs, they want to be able to do it all. They want to be able to have it all. And how does an organization then tailor, all their benefits, policies, practices, and ensure that their culture is one where you feel a sense of belonging, you feel included, and all your policies are equitable. All of this, I think, plays a really, really significant role to ensure that people stay on and people truly feel like work is an extension of my home. Pankaj, your thoughts?
Thanks. My name is Pankaj Khanna. I look after workforce management, talent acquisition for all of the Coforge's businesses. Coforge was earlier called NIT Technologies for some of the people who may not probably relate to the name. We are about $1 billion, about 22,000 employees. The topic, and I was actually, laughing with Ritu, saying that, what do we call ourselves? Is it baby boomers? She said, no, don't call us baby boomers. And I think she rightly said, neither are we a baby, neither is a boomer. So fine, veteran, I don't know whether that is right. And then, of course, we are discussing whether after, like Jaya said, after 2001, whatever is the generation. But I look at the changes, right? The generation of today can only speak dude, cool, chill, right? So, And I see it in my children also. They are not bothered, right? My son has just started working a couple of years back, and he has a very, very clear idea of what he wants to do. He wants to retire after 5 years. He wants to make lots of money, and that's it, because he wants to chill. Good. I remember when I started my career, way back. It's not so way back, I feel that way, but yeah, it was 30 years back. The ambition and desire was that, how does one progress ahead in life? But the reason I say these two diverse things, and I'm going to probably, give a linkage to the two factors, and I have realized it over a period of probably more so in the last decade. One thing which unites the entire generational workforce, whether it is, 90s or 80s and to this, is the color of money. That color of money has become very, very significant. And we may say as an HR professional that giving a career, giving an option, giving an ambition, but all of that in today's world, especially with the generation today, boils down to what is it that I get in return. And this return is not about an elevated position or a role. It is about what that color of the money is. The second thing, interestingly, I think if I look at the workforce in the last 4 decades, it's the definition of loyalty. The loyalty factor is actually very interesting. At one point of time, government employees, if you remember, most of our parents were there. There was nothing available to work in India. That's the reason why the loyalty to the so-called government sector. And the word loyalty, I think, probably originated from there. But over a period of time, the loyalty has changed its flavors across the workforce definitions, right? And again, I used to think that, as HR professionals, that we have to be loyal to our HR, so-called HR community, is what we used to define it as a thing, professional loyalty, if not the organizational loyalty. But again, today's generation is more talking about loyalty to oneself, right? It is loyalty to whatever I decide in terms of an overall description. So to me, I think those are the two things which stand out, Jaya.
Yeah, and I think the money conversation is an important conversation, but
You bet.
It is, but that's one aspect. And today, if you talk to our employees, they'll tell you we want to be able to come to work living our purpose. We want to be able to do the things we love. We want to be able to also spend time on giving back to society. So, conversations of equity, integrity, conversations of fairness, conversations of belonging, these are very important because belonging is a human need. It's a basic human need. And if as an organization, we're able to provide that to our people while letting them do what they really love at work, I think that is where your stickiness comes in beyond, and of course loyalty comes in over time, but beyond the money that you're offering.
I agree. No debates about that, Jaya. But I guess what I was trying to just say that belongingness is a feeling of what we define loosely as culture. I think culture, again, is a mix of so many different things which evolve over a period of time. And the reason I made that loyalty factor was that for anybody to appreciate culture, somebody has to allow that seeping in to happen over a period of time. So in my mind, when I was giving this example, I thought that the factor of belongingness is anyway something which is passage. That's the reason I made that
Yeah,
point.
I think we were one of the first to start on the conversation of belonging, I think 4 years ago, and today you read many, many research reports about it. I do believe that that is truly ensuring that your people stay on and feel truly like, they're part of the workforce. But any other thoughts from you? I didn't want to sort of overtake the conversation.
No, you are not. Thanks. We have called our function diversity, inclusion, equity, and belonging. Okay, it is now not only DEI,
You've
but
added the B.
Yeah, we have added the B. But the important point that I want to share, and most of you must be HR function holders in some way or the other. The definition of belonging, definition of engagement has changed. How young people feel belonged and how I felt belonged is completely different now. And the sooner I realize it, the better it is. And when I say I am representing the organizations, and whoever has been fast enough in realizing this has really been ahead of the game. Today, mandating somebody to do work from 9 to 5, not giving them a choice, is not going to increase belonging. Okay, these are my personal views, and again, because of the experience and the background that I come from. Today, our metrics and measurement systems have to change because, for example, I very proudly say that attrition has been very low and all in TCS and all. That's important. I'm very happy about it, and I will continue to work for it. But with the gig economy, gig workers, young people wanting more diversity in the kind of jobs that they do, how can an organization which is very niche organization, how can they hold people for life? So will attrition be a good or the right measurement of success for every organization is what we are thinking about. What are the new metrics which are actually going to give us a high on Gen Y and Gen Z? So this concept forces me to think. Equality is gone away and giving way to equity. Being fair is more important than being equal. And each one of us, our organization, should define what being fair is meaning. And to be very candid about it, I didn't know what is the meaning of equity in the real sense in the workplace, on the ground. How do I should say that my organization is equitable? Till about 5-6 years ago, I did not know this. When I obviously learned an example, and I shamelessly simply share it, that there is a wall which both of us have to cross over. I am 6 feet tall, excuse me, I'm not, and you are 4 feet tall, high, and you will need a longer stool, and I will need a shorter stool to climb over that wall. Oh my God, it just hit me. This is being fair. So, an extra minute from you. All of you by now know I am a veteran in TCS. So I shunned diversity. I said, I'm not a woman, I'm not a man, I'm just a professional. Treat me the way you will treat anybody. Don't give me promotion, don't give me this thing just because of my gender. And if I heard a hint of reference to diversity, and I'm talking 90s, early 2000, I'm not young, I would run away from that and I give a slice to my boss. But come 2006-07, customers started asking questions on diversity. There is a lot of literature coming on diversity, and I started scratching my head that, am I missing something? Are women really needing something different? Obviously, they did. I actually then immersed myself in working on diversity by looking at data and all that. So I grew on this function, diversity. All of you must feel surprised when I share with you, but I chose my life as a man at workplace to shun any bias coming in and all that. So each individual is unique. I keep repeating this. I treat them the way, what they bring to the table rather than what they are. But being fair meant giving parental leave. Being fair meant giving flexibility. Those things are obviously important.
I feel the pandemic has truly impacted us all in very, very different ways, and depending on where you are and what section of society you represent. And if you're an underrepresented group, it's been very, very hard. And today, as an organization, you cannot ignore the fact that what's happening in your personal life is not somewhere linked to work. And I think that what we've done is ensure that our managers are more in tune, more empathetic, more in tune to understanding that if an employee is going through a personal situation, they're able to manage that emotion at work. And that takes a lot of ensuring that we are rewarding the right kind of behaviors. We're training people. So when you talk about empathy, humility, these are today not just good skills to have. These are leadership skills. They're non-negotiables. And the moments that matter to an employee is, how was I treated when I was interviewed? How am I treated when I'm onboarded? How am I treated when I'm given feedback? How am I treated when I'm actually leaving the organization? So all of these matter today. And like I said, today the conversation is around, as an organization, as an organization, am I aware of what's going on? And am I able to actually discuss very, very complex conversations openly and freely at work?
That point about empathy is absolutely right. I guess I was just thinking that sometime back, many years back actually, there was this situation, and I remember somebody making this point that a decision which is led by business, a decision can be brutal, decision can be tough or whatever it is, but the way it is implemented, the way it is communicated, and the way the empathy comes across in terms of giving that messaging, I think is very important. And I cannot but more agree with you on this in terms of the empathy part of it. And I think to the other point which you made, that a personal situation of an employee, and I think more so in the pandemic, obviously brought that up much ahead in terms of the flavor was that, what is it that I'm going through? Are you aware? Are you giving me that leeway in terms of coming out of it? So that is one. The other thing was just an observation from our, if I look at the Coforge over the last 3 to 4 years, interestingly, in the last 4-5 years, we have doubled up on revenue after being a fairly Hindu rate of growth kind of an organization. And one interesting thing we have done is that in the last 5 years, we have acquired about 6 organizations. And these are different organizations. Almost a couple of them were startups. Couple of them were, over a long period of time operating in the areas they were in. So one of the critical things which we realized in the last 4 to 5 years is that bring them in, give them space. And again, I'm talking about from an angle that there are different workforces which are getting assimilated within the organization. We made sure that, at the end of the day, we are giving them what they want, asking them to be a part of their journey with us. And we realized that over a period of 2 to 3 years, it's a fairly successful model that, you allow them to do what they are doing. They are successful, that's why they have been acquired. And tell them that, go ahead and absolutely without any fear, go, do what you have been asked to do. So again, a different take that from a generational angle that, you have a set of organizations which we are there, which was what we were till about 5 years back, a 25 year kind of a workforce. And then we tried acquiring workforce organizations which were far younger and far more nimble.
Thank you. Thanks, Pankaj. I think we'll open it out for questions, but I think the key point that I'm hearing, and just to quickly sum it up, the key points that I'm hearing are truly that as organizations, we have all moved beyond the conversation of age when it comes to diversity. So we're looking at it from a very holistic point of view. I think we're looking at it from an organization where we will continue to increase representation across all diverse groups, but we will ensure also that fairness, equity, inclusion, belonging, these are all completely, embedded deep into our cultures. And I'm very, very fortunate because EY as an organization, the years that we have spent on ensuring that our culture or what you experience as our culture is something that we truly talk about and are able to say with confidence that that's the culture you will experience, whether it's, integrity, empowerment, the ability to do the right thing, the ability to navigate your career in the manner that you want or where you want to take it depending on your ambition, your aspiration. So I'm glad that I belong to an organization like that where the culture is truly the essence of, or the soul of how we experience our organizations. Can we open it up to questions?
Absolutely, Jay. So what we're going to do is take about 2 to 3 questions. We have the first question right here. Yes, ma'am.
So I represent the brand Aura. It's not a question, but it's like I just wanted to add to what Pankaj Khanna just said. At the end of the day, it is the color of the money. So whether it was the older generation or the new generation, the what is in it for me was always high. And as leaders, we need to recognize that this generation is more vocal about it than the earlier one. And as an organization, I would say that Aura as an organization, we recognize that and we do not attach any stigma to it. So that's a very valid point which you raised, and thanks for raising that.
And just to add on, I think to your point, what you said, they have become vocal, but at the same time, they are fairly clear that they are not ashamed at all. Even if they are rebutted back, they are very okay. They will come back after 5 days again and ask the same thing, right?
Well, we acknowledge the fact that asking for more money or negotiating for your salary is not a penalty, right? There's no penalty attached to it. And I think that whether you're a man, woman, whether you're on the LGBT plus spectrum, where you're somebody with a disability, it does not matter. If you are negotiating a salary or asking for more money, it's a good conversation to have.
Okay. Yeah, so in fact, many things which what probably one did in 30 years, I heard. I feel very safe and secure, you know, that maybe 5 years from now, the top organizations will be those which will have in their boardrooms more women, people from the LGBT community in the boardroom. I'm going as far as that. It'll take time, I guess. And in India, we are brown, but otherwise people more of different colors. And we'll be definitely there. India will be there. Rest of the world, I guess. And that will be better than where we are today. Yeah.
Thank you. I think we had a brief chat where you talked to me about the fact that you have 2 daughters.
Yeah.
And I think the minute you have 2 daughters, 2 sisters, or you're exposed to the different experiences that we have at the workplace, you become a natural gender proponent.
So I also shared this article, a well-researched article. If the internet was run by women, it would have been far better for us, more rational, yeah, more gender neutral. And this is a very well-researched article, if anybody would be interested. So,
You know, in our organization, a very common and popular conversation is among leadership that don't talk about why diversity, because it has been researched, done and tested that if you have more diversity in leadership, the probability of you becoming more profitable is much higher. So it is, you know, I was very 5 years ago, my CEO told me that don't even explain to them why, just get on with the job. And I think that has made a huge difference. I agree with you.
thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
We'll move on to the next question, but just a quick request. Please do introduce yourself before directing your question.
Hello, my name is Raj. I'm from the same brand, Aura Fine Jewelry. So we are into retail jewelry business, and I had marketing and she heads HR. So it's a very non-HR point of view that I would want to ask you. 2 things which I could take away from this discussion was, I like the way you said, don't give too much importance to generation gaps. So just try to, it's a great thought. And the other word which was belonging, which repeatedly came up. So my question is 2. One is, the first question is, when it comes from a market, my sales team is out behind there. How do you translate this? Because HR otherwise, my heart goes out to the HR because they're the custodians and they do whatever they bid, they firefight, they hold the whole organizations together. But when it comes to a retail where we're a very consumer-facing business, we expect our consumers to be loyal to the brand. But I think there's always a gap that how much we're expecting employees to be loyal to the organizations. Loyalty is a little far-fetched word. I would still use a word affinity or belonging. I heard you all, but can you just quickly tell us what is the best practice or you would have an advice to a retail category? I mean, I also understand from the IT category how it's templatized. Sorry if it is not. But do you have any quick advice to our retail people out here?
The great resignation. You know, retention is always going to be a work to do for us also. You would have read stories that because TCS is so large, that is why the numbers are less, okay? But I believe in percentages, but I also know denominator plays a very big role in this. We have divided the organization into about 80-90 smaller units, and each unit is a contained unit. My HR team, whenever we speak, they have, we also struggle with the same question efforts that you have on the ground. My belief, what I started my conversation with, the uniqueness of an individual, I bring it back. The milestone, who cares that the quarter result is tomorrow? Who cares the board meeting is happening a day after tomorrow? What I care is that my partner is going through a surgery. My wife is going through a delivery tomorrow. I need the leave today. You know, that kind. So I have believed and practiced that look at the individual's need, milestone, aspiration, personal freedom, whatever it is, baby, keeping them in mind rather than organization context in mind. If that happens, the brand loyalty, the CEO loyalty, the organization loyalty automatically comes in. I still have people today, who are 30, almost like 18, 19, 20 years in TCS. And we now dare to ask question, why are you in TCS? Okay, we don't pay that well, according to you. So they always quote an incident that 5 years later, when my da was happening, company did this. So 10 years ago in Cincinnati, in a picnic, I fell, you know. So that I would only suggest very humbly that if you look at your audience, which is the employee pool, as a unique human being, and create policies and practices which can be flexibly be complied with. I'm using my words very carefully. Please tell your HR teams to do that, and the results will be for you to see.
So just to add on, I think it's a interesting take, and to pick up what Ritu is saying, I think the word policy guidelines have to be just shunned now. Nobody appreciates the word policy, and the reason for this is if you tell that I'm going to do appraisal once in a year or 5 times in a year, but I will give you money only once in a year, doesn't make any sense to anybody anymore. And I think it's fair also in terms of the way the questions and the queries come. The other funny thing is that HR guys, and by the way, I like you because you said that you have heart is going out to the HR guys. Make sure you tell it more and more to everybody. There was a case just about 4 days back, and I think HR guys have become very good at it by saying that, oh, this is a policy. Now, this is about a medical insurance. There is a lady who has written a mail to, actually the person is sitting here, Ankur is smiling already, he is my HR head for the BPS division. So she has written a mail to him saying that, listen, I have got a baby, but I have not covered I'm not covered under the medical thing. So the HR answer was, you did not opt for it in the scheme when it was opened in the month of February. Good answer, right? Get good
Right.
marks,
Wrong
right?
answer.
Good answer, great answer. But the problem is it is not solving that women's problem at all. Now the question to be asked is that can I check with the insurance team or whoever else it is and go back and tell them, listen, I'm giving you business. At the end of the day, I'm giving you 10 crores of business. Will you like to cover? Yeah, I know there is an exception. But the reason I bring that point up is not to say that, we did a right call or no, but I think the question is very relevant. I think in today's world, if there are 100 employees, there are 100 retention levers which are unique and different, which need to be thought through. And to the point which you said, I think the HR team needs to understand the business, what drives the business, because out of that comes the issues in terms of how to retain the employees from an individualized angle. So good question, and that's the reason I added a little bit more of a monologue.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I think that with the pandemic, the different situations or the very complex situations that individuals went through in their personal lives, I don't think there was a book that taught us or told us as an organization that here's what you need to do. None of us were ready for it. And the intent, the ability to do the right thing, to be fair, to be good human beings, I feel those have become very, very important. And people actually come back to us today and say that, we have had such tough times during the pandemic, and EY as an organization, my manager, my colleagues were all there. And we had, in fact, a 24/7 support system for anyone calling and anyone who needed help anywhere in any one of our offices. We've even airlifted people when it's needed. So I think that is what the story to tell today is, that why do I really feel like I belong, or why do I really feel like there's a sense of loyalty? Because in my time of need, you were there.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have room for one last question. Yes, sir? Sir, we'll get you the mic one second,
You're
sir.
absolutely right. You people should approach your insurer. They will ensure, no, I'm not joking. Any decent company worth its salt, any decent company, that 27 of us will honor that. I can assure you of that. If you get stuck, whosoever is the insurance company, we will work on it.
Wonderful. I'll take your card. I'll make sure it is done.
I'll give you a case study of half a minute. An employee, very senior, middle to senior employee, lady joins in America as an American employee in TCS. Within a month, she has an emergency in her family in India. The insurance, she's obviously not part of India insurance. She takes a fluke and she realizes that she can ask that question to me, can TCS do something? And thanks to people like you, whoever is our insurance, our HR, were able to help her. I'm not going to go into the details how, but within the guidelines, but not restricting to the guidelines. Thank you for even offering that.
On that note, ladies and gentlemen, we call it a wrap to this very interesting discussion. First up, can we have a round of applause to thank all of our speakers? And if I could request Jaya, all of you to please remain on the stage. First, we'll have a group photograph, and then I'm going to request our panelists, our speakers, to please remain on the stage as well. I'd like to also invite Akash Tiwari, the co-founder and chief strategy officer of Team MARKSMEN, to please come on stage. And Ritu ma'am, Jaya, as well as, if I may once again request Mr. Pankaj, all our three speakers, we're going to request you to come back on stage one more time. We'd like to honor your time, so we'd like to present a token of our gratitude to you. I'm going to be requesting Akash Tiwari, the co-founder and chief strategy officer of Team MARKSMEN, to please present a token of gratitude to all of our speakers for their valuable time with us. Thank you very much. And with that, I'd like to thank Dr. Ritu Anand. Thank you very much, Jaya. And thank you very much, Mr. Pankaj, as well, for beautifully sharing your insights with us. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, it's also time to set the stage for our next session. It's also time for another interesting panel discussion coming your way. So let's do that by setting the stage. Let's get the team to do so. Well, this is where we're going to get our set of panelists to come together, because we also have some very interesting questions when we talk about the fact that change, as they say, is very inevitable. And it is something that all of us here in the room today, we actually are very, very familiar with. Now, be it an individual or for that matter, an organization, today it is imperative for the C-suite leaders to reflect on what practices need to be put in place for future growth as well as sustained success. And with this in mind, we have put together a panel of experts from diverse industries to get their perspective on modern workplace. So the big question is, what does the future of the workplace hold, and where are they laying their bets? Well, if that's a question, then it's time to also bring on board our set of speakers. And let me do so by first up inviting Dipankar Ghosh, CHRO, Bajaj Consumer Care, to please come on stage. May I further invite Dilip Kumar Patel, Director HR, NTPC Limited. May I also invite Mahendra Inge, Head HR, Serum Institute of India. Manish Chaudhary, Chief of Staff, Poonawalla FinCorp. Jacob, Group CHRO, Malabar Group. And ladies and gentlemen, this session is being spearheaded by none other than Pooja Kanwal, who will be extracting all the important and relevant insights from all of our speakers. Well, it's time to give some energy to all of our panelists with a round of applause, a round of cheer. Let's welcome them. And let me hand it over to Pooja. Over to you then.
Hello. Thank you so much, Kavya, for weaving it all so seamlessly together. Good morning. Good morning, everyone. I'm Pooja Kamal, and a very warm welcome to all our panelists. I'll take just a few seconds to set everything up. So we're good to go. As we all know, organizations underwent a lot of changes as a way of grappling with the pandemic, and now there is absolutely no going back. Well, that makes it imperative for the management to reflect on what practices need to be implemented, need to be put in place as the pandemic winds down. This panel that we have here today, ladies and gentlemen, pulls together experts from different industries to get their perspective on the modern workplace. Now, what does it mean for them? What are the efforts taken by them to build an agile workplace, and what are the best practices in creating and managing a high-performing hybrid workplace? Is it going to be a new norm going forward? What does the future hold, and what are they laying their bets on? Let's take a look as we direct our first question to Mr. Dilip Kumar Patel. This one's for you. What are the forces, opportunities, and challenges that are shaping the future of work, sir?
Hello. Let me first describe about our organization, because I'm seeing most are from the private sector or service industry. Basically, I am from NTPC. NTPC is engaged in the business of power generation, and mostly ours is thermal business. We have got around 40 generating stations, mostly located in the remotest part of India, in the state of Jharkhand, Chhattisgarh, Bihar, and so on. So, particularly during this COVID, power generation was very, very essential. I think next to medical services and law and order, we are in the most essential services. Or even during the peak lockdown period, during the peak COVID time, our power plants generated electricity. That was essential. Otherwise, even hospitals cannot run without power. That was our situation. So it was quite different. Our context was quite different than the other service industry. It may be quite different. So even now we are generating, just to set the context, we are generating more than 1 billion unit of electricity every day, and more than 25, we are meeting the more than 25% of power requirement in the country. So even during the peak lockdown, our employees had to go to the plants. They have to transport coal, they have to run the boiler, they have to run the turbine, they have to dispatch the powers. So so far this hybrid work concept or remote working, work from home was concerned, it was not that much possible. But having said that, in many of the functions, particularly our construction material function, finance, or even for that matter, human resources, we went for a hybrid model extensively. We went for many new concepts, like we have a unified services for C&M, construction materials, or finance function or purchase function. Now, for all the 80 locations spread all over India, we are managing all those things from a single locations. And that is being continued even after the COVID. Second thing, COVID helped us to go for digitization in a very massive way. Actually, most of the interventions that we took during that time, that is continuing. We went for entire job, we analyzed the job roles, entire job roles. It also throws many opportunities. Actually, we analyzed which jobs are more essential, more critical, which are not, which can be done through hybrid mode, which cannot. Even in the plant also, some of the jobs we carried out through WH mode, and then those things are continuing. But what is most important, particularly during that type of unprecedented situation, but I would say that even VUCA is an insufficient descriptor of the situation that we faced at that time. So particularly at that time, the paramount importance is the employee well-being. Not only employee well-being, we have to take care of the employee families and other associates also. We have got 18,000 our regular employees, and more than 1 lakh outsourced workers have been engaged for generating the electricity. We have to take care of all of them. During that time, because people are not connecting with each other, particularly those who are engaged in the service sector, so communications was given paramount importance. We had set up a different communication metrics, not only top-down or bottom-up, it was also horizontal communications that is continuing even till now. Psychological supports were required to the employees, their family members. We opened a 24/7 psychological support system. We have named it as Snehal from some expert psychologists. It is available till now also, it is continuing. It has been proved to be a great help to all. And particularly in the digitization front also, we have taken many steps. Many of them are continuing. And after the, as I told, after the job role analysis, We are going for a massive way for the gig, fixed term employment or gig workers. Actually, many may not appreciate us because we are in the public sector. Let us understand that we are in a public sector. We are bounded by many rules, regulations of DP, your DOPT, and so many things. Still, we have gone for that. We have changed our entire talent acquisition systems. Only initially it was our model was build your own timber. Now we have gone to buy, borrow, share, those type of systems we are going, even in the remaining PSU. And those are going to continue. We changed our performance evaluation system, and the most important effect was on we have completely revitalized our learning and development system. Just again, I would like to give a background, because we are talking about attrition rate. But in PSU, the attrition rate is quite low, and even in our case, NTPC, it has never crossed 0.5%. It is always less than 0.5%. So we are not worried about those things. But still, we have to provide the psychological support to all. We have to make the employees motivated even during the most tough conditions. And they should feel that, yes, organization will come forward in case I have got any problems at any stage of life. That type of confidence they should have. Then only during the peak lockdown also they will go to plant, they will work, even when in many of our plants, around 15 to 20% employees were affected. Still, we have been providing electricity like that. So many of the systems which we introduced are continuing till now also.
That is true. Mr. Dipankar Ghosh, we've seen 3 key trends emerge, that of remote work, digital channels, and automation. Now, put together, what is the impact of these 3 trends on the future of work as we look at it?
The entire digitization and automation that we see now in workforce management, I think if I look at various industries, including the industries that I am in, just to introduce, I am from Bajaj Consumer. We are primarily an FMCG industry and purely into marketing, manufacturing, sales and distribution of FMCG product. Now, digitization, automation had a huge impact during this period, primarily around connectivity, primarily around how do you make sure that your business continues as usual. But on a very different scale, I want to put this in a different perspective. I think this entire pandemic and the discussion that we are having now, it is a one-off incident to me, hopefully so. It happened last time in 1919, it happened now in 2020, 100 years later. We hope it shouldn't recur after again 100 years, and hence it should be taken as a one-off incident, and some of this, what we used to say in Maharashtra, back to the new normal. So we would be back to what we had been doing mostly. And this entire digitization, automation journey had happened in many organizations already, with or without pandemic, which did not started the journey. The pandemic ensured that you accelerate, accentuate that. Some we were already there, they had probably gone one way ahead of that. Because with or without pandemic, I think this entire emergence of digital technology, the way it is embedding our life, had been phenomenal. Every movement of our today, it can be monitored if required. And this is with or without pandemic. And that's engulfing our everyday life like never before. Yeah, pandemic probably have made much more inclusiveness towards it. If I look at our organization, and I would only say that probably the periods of blockage or lockdowns that we had ensured that we embrace some of this technology much more. Like take for example, business intelligence for our marketplace. Traditionally, we would have been relying more on feedback coming out from the frontline sales representatives' data, which they are collecting directly from the field. Today, they input that data in a handheld, and that generates a back-end intelligence code, which gives us insights sitting in the head office. I think that is a change that has happened, and that, as an organization that we are, I think we started investing much more because field force were not so far available in the marketplace, and hence you had to rely on those kind of data. So far as HR is concerned, the onboarding, the training, the way capability development happened, we all understood that, we all thought that physical classroom would have a different impact. Now we realize that it can be a blended one. Going forward, obviously, some of this intervention will continue to remain blended. All the processes of human resource, right from acquisition, talent assurance, talent management, capability development. Hybrid would happen. We would probably go the way many organizations have gone, where the routine, the regular, the repeatables will be embraced more and more by automation. However, there would still be a factor left which can't be done without human intervention, and that's where we would go back to where we were even 3 years back. I think this entire pandemic actually helped us realize in a constricted environment what we can do through digitization and what we cannot do. And that experience would help us filter out what make a human being react or motivate or engage differently when you do a right blending of technology versus human intervention. I think that's what we would be learning going forward.
Yeah, Mr. Mahinder, we always talk about this, hybrid work environment, but what about the other side? Do you think there's anything lost in this environment that really needs to be managed for, should be managed for?
Actually, good afternoon to everyone. I am from Serum Institute, and we have a 55-year-old company. And the journey, why I'm giving you this background of the journey, so that people understand the relevance to the question. So the question you asked is how you pass on the technological technology to the newer generation that is coming into the system, right?
Also, does anything get lost in the hybrid work environment that we need to look out for?
Yeah, I mean, if you ask me, we are into the manufacturing sector, so I may not be able to really throw much light on the hybrid work culture part. But yes, I think if you ask me as a professional, this has really helped people in terms of their work-life balances. I personally feel the more females they have came into the employment, there are a lot of new mothers, those who were otherwise staying at home after after their delivery or after the kid. But they have also joined the workforce, and that's something that has given because of the hybrid work culture that has come up after the pandemic. Otherwise, we don't see anything that sort of happening if there was no pandemic. And you see, as a human being, we are so adaptive to the changes. You see how quickly we adapted to the changes, and if you see the entire evolution of the industry since industrial evolution, you can see that the changes keep on happening. There are certain times there are rapid changes, but still, we have got that inbuilt capability as a human being to adapt to the new changes they come in. So that's something I can thank you.
And just taking that forward, Mr. Jacob, if you could throw some light on how does remote work affect worker demographics? Do you foresee it creating significant opportunities with respect to diversity in the workplace?
Good afternoon, everyone. Pleasure to be here. Let me give you a perspective on how this whole thing has evolved. See, if you look at when the pandemic started, most companies were kind of not knowing what to do. Somebody started doing a certain strategy of this remote work, and mainly, digitalization took its form of connectivity from office to your home. That was predominantly what happened during the work from home scenario. Then it became a hybrid workforce. Then it became, some companies decided it was working well. This work from home was working well. So we moved to that kind of a model. But today what's happened is, what has changed completely is that markets have opened up, and employees who have been part of organizations looked at the last 2 years as what were the terms of endearment of the organization. Did the company really take care of us as a family, my mental health? Were there learning opportunities through Zoom or through digitalization? All of that was what employees were looking at. Now, again, companies are looking at the growth mode. Companies are looking at ways and means by which we have to get back onto our growth track. We lost 2 years. 2 years was basically sustenance. Some companies took draconian steps like, letting go of the workforce, pay cuts, etc. But some companies said that, it's the personality of the organization. How do I take care of my employee during these bad times is when we will reap the benefits in the long term. So many of these large corporates took a call like that. We will not do anything draconian to the employee. So today you have various models. You have this work from home, you have a remote workforce, you have a hybrid workforce. All of it, the companies have to look at it from the perspective of what's it working for them. Many companies have taken a call, like large multinational corporations in the US, and said, even some traditional manufacturing organizations to a large extent have also taken a call that, okay, we'll allow majority of the workforce to work from home, we'll change our model. And they've looked at it from the perspective of what's working for the organization. But having said that, we Indians, predominantly, we are very social. We need a mix of both work from home and a hybrid, the hybrid model. People tell me that I miss those water cooler conversations. I miss those conversations when I have over a cup of tea when we go to the canteen. All of us go out of the office to the next tea shop, or, to have a juice or to have a cigarette or whatever it is. So these are the kind of things which are evolving, and I think companies are looking at it, what is it that is working for them. So a remote workforce has its advantages, when especially that the workforce is scattered and you're able to manage, and your technology has to be absolutely mature to evolve to such, to that kind of a model. But having said that, I think what really matters is your terms of endearment from the organization, mental health, and the ability for HR departments to come out with a bundle of products and services which are differentiated products and services for each segment of your workforce. So I think what really matters is what is HR coming out in terms of your products and services for the employees to ensure that it benefits them from an employee experience perspective.
Mr. Manish, I'd like to ask you, a lot of organizations talk about purpose. Now, as we think about the workplace experience, do we make sure we're hitting the moments that matter, such as onboarding, reviews, mental health, and work-life balance, just managing the diverse pieces of human interaction better?
Sure. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Manish. I represent Poonawalla FinCorp, which is a NBFC. We are into lending space. I think this is a very interesting time period that we are going through. I think we've all been talking about pre-pandemic, post-pandemic, and I'm not sure what is post-pandemic right now, but yeah. As things evolve, of course, experience from an employee perspective is something which has always been the core to any organization if it really wants to develop the human capital. When we look at it, the moments, the experience that you create for the employees, it's going to be critical. But we need to look at it in two different ways. And that's where I think this question of what pandemic has done to the workforce is critical. Today, as we talk, I think most of the organizations, and I'm sure all of you would agree, are still struggling, whether you call the attrition or the retention. But the issue exists for both, on both the aspects. Now, I think the root for it, when we look at it, and this is what our observation has been, is that there are various options which have actually kind of sprung up, during this pandemic. All of a sudden people have an option of saying, you can work from home. And hence the expectations actually really change. And when these expectations change, you need to really look out for trends and see, are these the long-living trends, or are these just the disturbances that you're seeing? I think our take is, we'll have to still kind of look at it, let it evolve, and then agree. Human tendency is what you don't have right now is what you really like to do. I'm sure maybe a year down the line, you may be looking at people wanting to come back and say, we want to really work out of office and not from home, right? So the trends, once they really become long-term, are the ones which actually kind of change the winds and the way people behave, people collaborate. But having said that, in the current environment, of course, creating the right experience from an employee perspective is very critical. Things like onboarding, like we said, the reviews. I think one thing which has not changed is the employee. I think the way an employee works may have changed, but the employee has not changed too much. I think we need to be cognizant of that fact, and hence, whether we follow an, work from office, work from home, a hybrid, or any other approach, the fact is that we need to be really strong in ensuring that the right set of tools are available to the workforce to ensure that they deliver on what is the organization expectations. Also, I come with a background of business, and hence I say that, whenever we look at any of these trends, it has to be kind of balanced against, when we talk of an employee, the very fact that we are talking of an employee is coming because there is an employer in place, right? And hence there is an employer-employee relationship. And when we look at any of these things, what is very important is to understand, just like an employee will have an expectations, an employer would also always have an expectation. And hence that is where there's a right match, which has to be kind of struck for the relationship to be mutually beneficial across. And that is where I see this trend, people who are kind of organizations which embrace the latest trends, they will understand that they will not be kind of missing out on what the employer objectives are. While employee practices are critical, I think organizations which lose sight of the employer would not be better placed in the long run. And I'll just quote some examples we've seen during this pandemic. There are new age startups. We heard what Better.com did. There are new age startups. We know one, Elon Musk said, let's start going to office and work 40 hours a week. There was so much of hue and cry. But those are the other side of the realities. While a lot of our co-panelists, they come from manufacturing sector. But let me kind of tell you this, while we may be coming from a trading or a services background, just like there's a little bit of kid in all of us, there's a little bit of manufacturing in any organization that you look at, So we run a financial services company, but we still have a manufacturing there because there are certain portions which you really can't ensure that they're working fine if they're working from home, right? Similarly, there could be organizations, I cannot be telling a hospital which is into surgeries to kind of work from home, right? We may get there with robotic surgeries, but that's not going to be the end state, So hence, we need to really look at components within the organization and say, where do we create that experience? We also need to look at the evolution stage of an organization and say, is that an experience that you want to create today, tomorrow, or day after, right? These are all choices to be made. At the end of it, any choice that you make has to be kind of, mutually gainful for both employer and employee. And that is where I see the trend actually moving to that direction, where organizations will think of both the things being balanced and then taking a call on what is the right way going forward.
Dipankar sir, you could also throw some more light on the same. Are we really sure we're hitting the moments that matter, especially when it comes to work-life balance?
Okay, so I think this hitting the moments or those winning moments which really makes a difference. I think that really comes from something which have evolved from employee engagement to what we are talking about now as employee experience. And when I talk about employee experience, one of the things that we are trying to adopt now is design thinking around how do we make sure that we hit the right moments. And what do I mean when I say around design thinking? It's really the way service industry, so far as their customer or consumer experience is concerned, have evolved and made sure that it is not a helicopter view. It's not something which you do en masse for everybody, but really make sure that you provide things which exactly provides the exact requirement of the employee. And this is exactly what we are doing across the way we design our compensation. Make it more flexi, because every generation or every age group will have different need of the way their compensation is designed. So that's one thing that provides flexibility and customization so far as compensation and rewards is concerned. Really hitting the moments when it really matters to him. Creating policies, or as somebody said, why policies? But creating guidelines which provides multiple avenues of serving the need, and that cannot be a uniform vanilla approach across the organization. Third, around learning, around capability. Now, learning capability and the way a person individually would want to shape his career. We are trying to make sure that we have deep conversation and understand what exactly excites him and what really he is looking forward to. And that may often lead to movement across roles, movement across functions, and movement across geographies. And then creating customized program from them. Again, from the classical approach of vanilla approach around capabilities, really around creating multiple IDPs for anybody whom you think you need to take it forward. So that again is a hitting the moment. Now, while we are hitting all this momentum, one thing that we really have to appreciate, and we realize that ultimately what's paramount? What is paramount is business. And if the business don't exist, this employee experience goes for a toss. And hence, post the pandemic, what we really understand is it's no more about only employer taking that best foot forward to provide an experience. It's both way. And the employee also has to realize that he has to put his best foot forward to take the offerings that's on hold. And in my experience, I have seen it's often not a fair field. We are often putting too much of energy on areas or on individuals who may or may not be even willing to do, and often in that, missing out who probably are looking for that. And the challenge really is to identify for whom you really lay the red carpet and for whom you may or may not, because ultimately it is the business which is paramount. And hence, sometimes this hitting the right moment also actually makes you do many things without actually hitting what is right for the business. And we have experienced doing one too many. And as we move around after 2.5 years of pandemic, we are really rolling back few things which we thought had not exactly been used the way we thought it would be used. And those are experiences that we had during this. So yes, there are experiences that are happening around design thinking concept to hit the right experiences for the employees, but at the same time, we are also revisiting some of the things to create a balance between what the business needs and what the employee needs.
Mr. Jacob, I'd like to ask you, digital environments might be an advantage for digital natives versus older workers, but now many younger workers must also be filled with dread about the pace of upheaval and investing in skills that may rapidly just probably become obsolete. So any recommendations for those that may be thinking about how to future-proof their own career trajectories?
Very relevant question at this point of time. See, if you look at retail organizations like ours, we've had to change our business model during this time. You know, like for example, during the pandemic, obviously we had to close all our retail stores, manufacturing facilities, they were operating at very little capacity. So all of this, what it changed was, we had to change our complete model from people actually going to the shop to select jewelry and buy jewelry. We decided we will get it to their houses or wherever they want it. So one was this bespoke model. Second is, I think for most retailers, the omni-channel is another model which is taking shape as a driver going forward. So from whichever channel you wish to buy, and many of the organizations changed their model completely to digital. So what has happened is that, we are, traditionally we have manufacturing facilities, we have retail. So the retail models have changed, but in manufacturing also there's a lot of new automation which has come in. But yes, you still need the skill sets of those karigars who make the jewelry. So those, those things don't change. For specialized jewelry in our manufacturing facilities, we still have those karigars who actually manually work. So model really hasn't changed for them as such in terms of specialized jewelry for both our diamond factories and our gold factories. In addition to that, if you're looking at skill sets, there's been a huge change on adopting technology from the perspective of the employee experience one. So even from an HR standpoint, most of the things which were kind of manual or which were kind of semi-manual were all made fully automated. So that was one model which changed. And along with that, it also ensured that we upskill the workforce to adopt digital technology from a business standpoint. So many of those people who could be trained or whom we identified as the people who are going to be take new roles as far as the new models which we are coming out with, those people, we spent a lot of effort in terms of training them, provided roles, provided them new roles, career lattices to move into those positions. So there was a lot of people who moved cross-functionally within the organization. And we operate in about 10, 12 countries. We have close to about 20,000 workforce. And next 3 years, we are growing so rapidly that there's going to be huge investments. And we're looking at, huge intake of talent, especially at the retail manufacturing sector. So we've had to relook at our model, relook at where talent comes from, relook at what is the minimum skill set that we want in terms of intake into the organization. So all of these were, in terms of variables which we had to take into account to help the business. So what as a HR team, what we did was we had to ensure that how do we connect people and performance? So how do we ensure that people who come into the organization are able to adapt to new technologies, help out with the new models, because you still have, I think most retail organizations have changed their model completely, and going forward, it's going to be, a lot of it's going to be 60-40. 60 is going to be digital. There's going to be a huge transformation around the digital side, omni-channel, e-commerce. These are all going to play a huge role. And we saw that in many of the other FMCG organizations, etc., during this pandemic. So I think this was how we looked at it, and this is how we made our plans looking at things going forward.
Just to
yes, I was just coming to.
This is a very interesting thing which is happening. As we look at any of the transitions which happen, there's one critical thing which is happening is you are actually looking at a transformation happening from an employee perspective. I think organizations have already been looking at, and that's always been a model of saying, what are the kind of capabilities that you bring or you build in an organization and say, this is something which is going to make me, maybe a future-ready kind of an organization or maybe a sustainable organization to kind of compete in the marketplace. I think as this, the digitization piece starts happening, I think what is more important is, on the entire competency that you build within an organization. I think there's one more competency which is coming out as very clearly a core competency for any organization is one of adoption and adaptation. I think organizations are looking at, and today I'm sure there's so many HR leaders sitting here, I'm sure one of the things which everybody is grappling with and trying to figure out is, how many of my employees would be ready to take this challenge on of any change, not just a technology change, maybe 3 years from now. I think, and hence people have started doing that exercise of saying, if I have 10,000 employees or 5,000 employees, how many of them are really going to be able to adapt and adopt? And if that population is minuscule, then there is a big threat which exists for that organization itself. And hence, there has to be an investment in terms of learning and development to get the employees ready to take on challenges which may be unforeseen, right? COVID, nobody anticipated this is going to happen. I think we are better off. We are in a much better shape now to take on the challenge. But we really don't know what is the next challenge coming our way, right? And with that as a thought in mind, I think the philosophy of adoption and adaptation is something that people need to really think of as HR people and see, we really have at least a majority of the population, if not 100%, consisting of people who can actually kind of adapt themselves. And that's the only response that you can have to any unforeseen event that you see. So I think that's my limited take on saying how do you really change this. I think learning and development is going to be a key role. People need to be kind of updated. Maybe 3 years, 4 years, 5 years earlier, we were not even, I don't know how many of us were actually looking at business intelligence tools. Today, I'm sure, even as HR resources, we actually look at BI tools and use them extensively. So I think the way the trends are moving, the way you're moving to more towards data orientation, I think the same way the skill set needs to be upgraded within the organization for one to be creating a more sustainable HR practices within the organization.
Mr. Dilip, I'd like to ask you, what is the one piece of advice that you have for leaders and organization with regard to the future of work?
I visualize that the future of workplace is going to be an operational setup, professionally designed, not only catering to the requirement of the business, but also both physical and psychological needs of the employees. As some of my colleagues have shared, digitization is going to play a very vital role. There will be increasing number of gig workers. I think there will be significant number. All of us know about that NASA. It comprises of both type of employees. Ones who serve there for 30 years or even more, and there are another set of employees who work for a particular 3 or 4 months in a year, and maybe during that period they may be employed somewhere else. So these type of situations are going to come. We have to increasingly depend upon that. And what one of my colleagues have shared, the most focus area is learning and development center. It should be the learning and development. It should not be generalized. It should be very, very targeted, focused, and it should be really contributing to take care of present requirement as well as the future requirement. What value propositions we are offering to the employees, that is also, we should be very clear what value propositions we are proposing. And the employees should feel, yes, the organizations will stand by me, even in case of there is some severe personal cases, something like that. Then only the sense of belongingness will come. Those type of things, we have to think out of the box. Then the talent acquisition strategies. We need to be creative in talent acquisition as well as talent management strategies. The traditional way may not work. Every organizations are different. The HR to be successful, any people practices needs to align to the need of the business. The business keeps on changing. We have to keep on changing our HR and people practices also. From being a strategic partner, now HR has moved towards outside-in approach. We are not only take care of the employees, we should think of the entire business and formulate our HR initiative, HR strategy accordingly. Then only we will be contributing, contributing to the business.
Mr. Mahinder, your words of advice.
One thing, as HR leaders, I think we should mostly be part of the business, and we should be able to foresee what sort of changes they are happening on the business horizon, the technological horizon, and what would be the people requirement at that point in time when those changes are going to take shape. So if we are in correct relations with the change that is coming in, I think we should be able to do a decent job. Continuous skill upgradation of the people, especially the technical skill upgradation, and the individual should feel, yes, I belong to this place. And I am very proud to say that in my company, the attrition rate is 5%. So that speaks for what kind of things we do for the people. Because, you know, finally, employee at Serum, he feels, yes, I belong to this place, I'm taken care. In any kind of emergent situation, he feels, yes, company is behind me. I mean, that kind of a culture that you need to create where people feel, why should I go out? I'm getting paid 30% more than the markets, and my skills are getting upgraded, I am taken care well, and I am sure business continuity is going to be there. So I think this kind of a win-win situation, if we are able to create, and of course it takes a lot of efforts to create such a win-win situation. And I think that's what I can say. Thank you.
I think we can now open it up to taking some audience questions. Would anyone like to ask anything? Anyone? All right, so as we sum it up, Mr. Jacob, your words of advice on the future of workplace for the leaders of organizations.
See, I think as leaders, what the last 2 years have taught organizations and basically HR teams is that three things which basically come out. One is agility, resilience, and adaptability. This is going to be the future. We've seen one pandemic or one uncertain time for almost 2 years, and I think, going forward, there'll be far more and more challenges. We've had this pandemic. Going forward, something else may come in. So, like, it's going to be a complete world of uncertainty. You do not know what the future is going to hold. But I think from a company standpoint, I think how agile you are, how do HR teams and business work together to make the workforce more agile? Your resilience, how are you able to stand up in spite of going through a difficult time? And your adaptability to change. I think if you are able to look at these three things with relation to the environment that is changing and that will change, I think to a large extent you can shock-proof your company.
Mr. Dipankar.
So I have an additional point to add on this future of work. I think one of the things that I envisage future of work would look like, how the new workplace would look like, is a lot of traditional concepts would go away. One of them would be the way we look at hierarchies in organization, the way we look at the ladder. I think mostly it would go away. I was listening to my colleague from public sector who was talking about gig workforce. Now that would be a very, very interesting thing for a public sector executive to say 20 years back. We are hearing what's Agniveer and Agnipath is happening, which means across, which has already happened in lot in private sector, you would have gig workforce or people coming for the moment, solving your issue and going back and taking something else would happen. You would have specific skill set, generalists would slowly fade away. You would probably have more and more people with specific niche skill set. Traditional organizational hierarchy, principles of hiring, principles of engagement would go for a very, very different change. Learning and development have to be on the go, and an organization would have less time to invest. So people who are investing on their self-skill development, depending on in which skill set they are, they would be more in the demand. And if all of that happens, also the way we look at physical workspace would go for a massive change with AI, simulation, machine intelligence coming in. So people can actually virtually be in some place without actually being there. And those technologies, whatever metaverse is trying to bring, and metaverse in its full force in few years' time can completely change the way physical workspace look like. And hence, the way we have thought of organizations for the last 150 odd years, or maybe 250, since industrial revolution happened, would probably go. If 3D printing comes the way it is being envisaged, traditional manufacturing may go for a huge change. I think very, very interesting time in the next 10, 15 years, and which would make us think very differently from the way we look at future of work.
Mr. Manish, as we wrap up this session, some words of advice from you for leaders and organizations on the future of work?
Yeah, so I think the only advice that I have, and that's the way we approach this aspect in our organization, is we call it as an evolve series. I think whatever we are doing today, the relevance of it's only time bound. And hence, it's for both the employee as well as the employer to kind of evolve continuously. Ensure that, what you hear, the signals that you catch are something that you are actually kind of incorporating into your day-to-day functioning, whether you call it policies, processes. At the end of it, as long as you kind of get in practice things which are more relevant with the times, I think that is what is the need of the hour. And these trends will then actually kind of lead us to the right path, where both the employees feel engaged, feel positive about the way the culture is getting built in an organization, and for the employer to actually benefit from that, the positivity that gets created, to ultimately kind of turn up in the business metrics, which is the ultimate goal.
Would anyone once again like to ask any questions on this? With that, I think, thank you to all our panelists for beautifully painting the future of work and the modern workplace in front of us so beautifully this morning. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much. I'm going to request all our speakers, all our panelists to please remain on the stage. And can we also have a round of applause for Pooja for beautifully moderating that discussion for us. Thank you so much.
So much.
With that, if I may please once again invite on stage Mr. Akash Tiwari, co-founder, Chief Strategy Officer with Team MARKSMEN, to please come on stage and also present a token of gratitude to all of our speakers here. Let's have all of you come together for one final group photograph as well. Thank you once again. And thank you for that very riveting discussion. Thank you once again, Pooja. Well, ladies and gentlemen, on that note, we'd also like to move ahead. And this is where we're going to gather some more insights, especially from a CEO, when we talk about workplace culture. And this afternoon, we will be joined by Kaushik Kona, who's the Chief Executive Officer, Go Airlines India Limited, who will be sharing his insights and his perspective with regard to workplace culture. We're going to just take a couple of minutes to also set the stage before I invite Mr. Kaushik on the dais. And after that, ladies and gentlemen, we will begin with the felicitations. So I hope all of you are all set, all geared up as well as we announce all the amazing set of organizations that are creating an example for that matter in terms of being the most preferred workplace. So stay tuned for all that and more. But first up, we will gather some more insights before we deep dive into the felicitations. I think back in the morning as well, with the fireside chat, we managed to get a lot of interaction, a lot of interesting questions and suggestions from our members of the audience, even as we were busy extracting insights from our speakers. So I must thank our members of the audience for being absolutely enthusiastic and energizing all of us. We're going to keep that momentum on for the rest of the program. So with that, what we're now going to do is move ahead with our next session. As I had mentioned earlier, we have with us Kaushik Kona, Chief Executive Officer, Go Airlines India Limited. And if I may please invite him with a huge round of applause. It's time to get a CEO's perspective on the workplace culture.
Well, good afternoon, friends. At the outset, I think it's a wonderful initiative by Team MARKSMEN, and I congratulate them for this beautiful initiative. I have an immense pleasure and I would say huge prerogative to get this opportunity to talk about the work culture. I'm really fortunate that I'm part of an organization which is completely customer focused, and work culture is something which is close to everyday activity for every person. For us, a team of 5,000 serving almost 50,000 passengers every day is something, an opportunity where we are able to get a kind of source of satisfaction every day by serving these 50,000 passengers every moment. So work culture for us is really important, and this pandemic really taught us something better. We are always service oriented, so I would say it's not something which we can do work from home. It's impossible that you can give your emotions, you can give your feelings, you can give your service to the passengers by staying away. And therefore, I think this is a wonderful opportunity where the employees who are already trained to be more focused on the services, they got an opportunity and they actually developed a multifaceted kind of personality. The employees got, I would say, multi-skilled approach. They not only worked for the kind of job responsibilities which they were otherwise defined, but I think they took their own initiatives and they became more customer focused, and they actually took some more proactive steps to ensure that the services which are rendered to the passengers are defined, are, I would say, more subtle, and we are in an environment where the comparison of the service levels happen every day. And I think in this last 2 years, we have been continuously rated quite high on the customer satisfaction, which is also measured by a regulator, and therefore we feel proud that over the last 24 months, in almost 22 months, we were ranked first in the customer satisfaction across all the kind of airports where we operate. How did this happen? And I think that's a core question which we have always been addressing on a day-to-day basis. One of the important things which we have been able to instill is, I think we are fortunate to be in a business of aviation where we are able to kind of provide services not only to the passengers but an option to our employees also, because there we are able to kind of give them options of taking services of our own aircraft. That's very, very easy, provided there is adequate space. But it also gives a kind of satisfaction that the customer representatives, the people, they themselves take an initiative to see that this is a family, and every person who travels is not only whether it is a family of an employee or it is a family of a passenger, they are all being treated as a family. So one of the most important things perhaps we all learned because of pandemic, and I think the second wave was very important, where practically every third of a family had a pandemic case, a COVID case. And at that time, I think everybody realized that what is more important is perhaps the satisfaction, being happy, ensure that you enjoy the moment. And I think that's what made our employees focus on that. Employees were quite motivated by not only additional learning and development, but I think what initiatives which we took, obviously we could not have physical training. There were the times when the training and development, even including the regulatory training, was being given digitally, but which is also as per the regulators' kind of permissions. But what was important is, while doing that, we also built up the training and development as a part of source of revenue. And what we did is, it was not only just a service, but a kind of, the employees became more of an entrepreneur than being only service oriented. The employees saw that whatever they are doing is actually being felt by way of a kind of top line of the company. Earlier, it was only a savings by way of a reduction in the cost, or which is I would say, the expenditure line. But this time, the last 2 years, what we have been able to see is that the employees see their contribution at the top line. And how did this happen? I think we are even now the only ones and the first ones where we have developed a kind of training institute. And we have a training institute for across all the kind of the faculties, be it engineering, be it flight services, be it in-flight services. And we have actually been able to get our courses also recognized by the government. Apprenticeship programs have also been recognized, and that is not only giving us a kind of fillip to train the people for the future, because these will be a long-term employees. They will be with us for minimum 5 years, 10 years. And that's what is making the whole work culture inclusive. Employees are able to see the presence of the kind of what they have been doing. They can see that it is being reflected on the performance of the company. I think this is the most important thing which we have been able to do. One of the small, I would say, acronym which we have developed is a SMILE. We all know service with smile. I mean, that's what we are, all service-oriented organization. And for us, SMILE means eager to serve, be always motivated, inspire others to be ahead, learning, keep yourself learning, and always see that you have an empathy, you have enlightenment for the people whom you work with and for the people whom you work for. I think this is where one of the major, I would say, differentiation which we have seen in the last 24 months. And I think this is something which we will take it forward. While we talk about technology going to help us, yes, it will. But being an aviation business, the personal touch is more important. And therefore, even when the technologies are being developed, we are trying to get more inclusive kind of resources where the business intelligence, artificial intelligence. In fact, we also partnered with some of the airport authorities where the passengers' behavior is also being mapped into our kind of database, which will help us to serve them better. That is the kind of additional leg by which we are able to enable the kind of services. But what is more important is, by being there as a customer focused, the employees are able to self-motivate them. And I'm very happy that some of the self-initiatives which have been taken by passengers have been recognized not only by the passengers who have seen that experience, but also by people who have seen that. And we had a very wonderful occasion where, because of the presence of mind of the team on one of the flights where we had and there are several such examples. I'm just trying to highlight which was recent ones, where a passenger suffered a massive cardiac arrest, and the cabin crew was able to immediately take initiatives, do the CPR, and not only that, the passenger revived. In fact, he had lost the pulse. The passenger revived, but after 15 days, when we got in touch with the passenger, obviously there was a doctor on board, which also was quite helpful. But that kind of, when we got in touch with the passenger and the doctor, and that was at Dubai, so we had a kind of online connection. And both of them were so happy to be kind of flying with us. And they really appreciated that this is something which was a kind of, not just trained, we were trained, obviously the crew was trained, but what was important is that they took their own initiative in time. And that is what gives us a lot of satisfaction of having a kind of trained staff with heart. So for me, the work culture will always carry a little bit of emotion, not just technology, because we always believe that every passenger, when he is cared a little more, when he is given kind of a personal attention, when he is just being asked as to how was your flight today, after the flight is over, I think that small initiatives, small questions also really help in taking the brand ahead. And I'm very happy that I am part of this team where we are able to deliver 50,000 smiles every day. And I'm very happy that we are living by the kind of the logo which says, or I would say the tagline which says that you come first. So I think the work culture, as to summarize, I won't take much time, but for me, it's an opportunity for us to be in the service industry, which is backed by Wadia Group, which has a longevity of 286 years. And I think a 5,000 employees family is a real, I would say, a team which is huge. I would say what we can say, the team is the huge advantage or asset which we have. And I thank once again the team MARKSMEN for organizing such a beautiful event where the HR heads across the large organizations have been participating, providing their insight into how do we improve. I am sure our team of HR would be really proud to see that we are also being recognized over here. Thanks a lot for this beautiful opportunity. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you very much, Kaushik sir. If I could request you to please remain on the stage. And can we have a smiling round of applause there, ladies and gentlemen? And sir, I'm going to still request you to remain on stage, as I'd like to invite Akash Tiwari, the co-founder and chief strategy officer with Team MARKSMEN, to also please present a token of gratitude to you for sharing your thoughts, as well as the initiatives taken up at Go Airlines. Thank you once again, sir. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, it's that time of the program wherein I would say the most awaited part of the program as well. This is where we will now be moving ahead towards our next segment, which is the felicitations. But before we do that, we often recognize that creating the physical and digital work environments that we know now as our workplaces is no mean feat. In fact, it must be flexible, it has to be collaborative, delivering the ever-elusive but much-in-demand work-life balance. Now, how can leaders go about creating a new model of work that fulfills any of these criteria? Or for that matter, as we all know, that it is an unenviable task to create this new possible, but one that is the most preferred workplaces, which is 2022, which is what it epitomizes completely. So today, we're going to come together and laud the leading brands from across the space, wherein one brand will be recognized in each subcategory for their achievements. I must also inform you all that this unique industry-led initiative has been informed and driven by insights drawn from an industry-wide, in-depth research conducted by our partner, Allegiant, and brands have been appraised on various parameters such as employee centricity, organizational purpose, or for that matter, intrapreneurial ecosystem, work flexibility, diversity and equality, growth and rewards, as well as social cohesion. So with that, it's time to get the felicitation started. But as we talk about celebrations and felicitation, it won't be possible unless we make it starry-eyed for all of us. So we're going to be in the presence of two amazing guests who will be joining us here this afternoon and to proceed with the felicitations. I'm going to request you all to stay with us for just a couple of minutes as they're walking. And they'll be entering inside the hall, and it'll be amazing to have their presence with us here. I'm guessing some of you already know who they are. I'm not going to say any guesses, please, but stay with us and we'll get the felicitation started in just a minute. Well, ladies and gentlemen, as they say, it's time to begin with a bang. And I'm not talking about all the noise we were making at the start of the program. But as you can see, if you can all probably look right behind, we have the august presence of the ageless superstar, Zeenat Amanji. A huge round of applause. And the very multifaceted Vivek Oberoi. Can we make that really loud, ladies and gentlemen? Please help me welcome. I must thank you for joining us here this afternoon. Thank you for your presence. Well, yes, ladies and gentlemen, on one hand, we have someone who managed to set the screen on fire with her beauty and also her choice of roles that made her the face of neo-independent India. And on the other hand, we have a multifaceted actor and also a philanthropist. And I must say, my dear Sathiyas, we are indeed in good company. That's how I'd like to put it. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to humbly invite Zeenat Amanji and Vivek Oberoi, both of you, to please come on the stage. And if I may request your presence here on the stage after getting papped a little over here so that we can get the felicitation started. Ma'am and Vivek, if I may invite you on stage. We also have with us Sharad Gupta, co-founder and COO Team MARKSMEN. Now, I believe we will be starting with the felicitations, but I'm sure all our members of the audience are eager to hear from you as well. So I'm going to say, ma'am, if you'd like to share a few words with our members of the audience first.
Good morning. Namaskar. Very happy to be here today with all of you. I think this is such a wonderful award to give. Most preferred workplace. It's unusual and so necessary, you know, to create a great working environment. I know it's important for all of us where we work, in our area of work also, to do well, we have to have facilities and a great space to work in. So I'm very happy to be here, to be a part of this awards ceremony, and I'd like to congratulate Team MARKSMEN. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, ma'am, for your legendary presence, in fact, with us here. And on that note, Vivek, it's always a delight to meet you as well. It's always a delight to hear your words. I'm going to request you as well to please address our audience.
Firstly, Kavya, it's wonderful to see you again. You're phenomenal at this. You host so beautifully. Could we have a round of applause for Kavya? She's doing such a great job. It's a privilege and an honor to be with somebody who I've been an absolute fan of on stage, ma'am. You're timelessly, agelessly graceful, beautiful, and so dignified. Yeah, it's great to be here again with Team MARKSMEN because I think the innovative aspect of this award is the need of the hour. Most preferred workplace is such an important thing, not just from an ethical perspective, but also from a perspective of HR. If you want to draw the best talent, you have to have a workplace that kind of invites the best talent. And I think nurturing that, creating that solid bedrock of an environment where people can actually flourish, optimize their performance, rather than the typical, 9 to 6 original concept of number of hours converts to productivity, which is not the equation anymore, right? Especially work from home taught us that it's now about getting the job done, and however you get it done, you figure it out, but just get it done the best way. And I think that's kind of become a very interesting and collaborative exercise between corporations and employees. And the stickiness factor that used to come from, from having a sense of security, right? Which used to be what the tradition is. I remember when I was growing up in school, if you were a Tata man, you were considered sorted for life. People went in straight after their education into a Tata organization and then retired out of it. And that offered a great sense of pride and security and brand. But today I feel the youth of today wants more. They're looking at where can I flourish? what's going to optimize my growth? How am I going to go up further and evolve? And I think that is a huge part, that nurturing of talent, that talent pool that we have today that doesn't fly away to Europe or America anymore. So I think this award signifies a lot of things, but I think the essence of it is making an environment where we can actually have talent, hone them, and nurture them.
Thank you very much, Vivek. That was beautifully shared, as you had said, nurturing the talent and nurturing them right. So on that beautiful note, ladies and gentlemen, with your permission, we'll get the felicitation started. Well, they're ready. Are you all ready? Yes, I am ever ready. Ladies and gentlemen, and with that, we're about to announce the names of these amazing organizations as we also honor the Most Preferred Workplace 2022. And let me inform you all that we will be doing so in the alphabetical order. So first up, ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together as we invite on stage the team from AB InBev GCC. First mindset, they are committed to creating an inclusive culture, empowering individuals to fulfill their unique potential. Well, moving ahead, ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it for Adobe. We'll invite the team from Adobe to please come on stage. They're busy at their workplace. Acha, they prefer their workplace. Vivek, that was well put. That was well put indeed, you're right. Adobe does that to us, yes. All right, ladies and gentlemen, then let's move ahead and let's invite the next brand that's being honored this afternoon. We're talking about esteemed Technologies Private Limited. esteemed enhances the operational efficiencies of organizations in the government, financial services, insurance, as well as healthcare industries worldwide. Well, as we're going back to back, let's also invite and let's hear it for the next organization. Ladies and gentlemen, Coforge. Can we have a huge round of applause for Coforge? A global digital services and solutions provider that leverages emerging technologies and deep domain expertise to deliver real-world business impact for its clients. Well, up next, ladies and gentlemen, the next organization that's being honored is also a leader in global threat intelligence providers. In fact, we're talking about Cybel. So can we please invite the team to please come on stage? Let the felicitations continue as I now invite Danfoss Industries Private Limited, an industry leader focused on energy efficient solutions, 100% owned subsidiary of Danfoss Group. Well, it's time to make that applause louder as I now invite DCM Shriram Limited, a leading business conglomerate with a group turnover of more than 9,850 crore rupees. The business portfolio of DCM Shriram comprises primarily agri-rural as well as chlorovinyl and value-added businesses. Well, up next, ladies and gentlemen, let's also hear it for DHL Express India Private Limited. Well, they are someone who put people at everything that they do. And this also ties to their 4 focus pillars, which is motivated people. That's where it all begins with. Ladies and gentlemen, DHL Express India Private Limited. Well, it's now time to ensure that your applause is in high spirits, ladies and gentlemen, because the next brand is Diageo India. Country's leading beverage alcohol company and a subsidiary of global leader Diageo PLC. Ladies and gentlemen, most preferred workplace, let's now hear it for ESAB India Limited. Recognized global leader in the welding and cutting industry with over 110 years of knowledge, ESAB India Limited. Well, up next, let's now invite none other than EY Global Delivery Services. Ladies and gentlemen. We have with us Jaya Virmani and her team here to receive the honor. And on that befitting note, let's also go ahead and honor the next organization, Garda Chemicals Limited. Let's invite the dynamic team to please come on stage. Established in 1967, Garda Chemicals Limited is an R&D focused chemical company active in the field of agrochemicals, high performance polymers and high performance pigments as well. Well, it's time to take the applause sky high, ladies and gentlemen, because the next brand we're talking about is Go Airlines India Limited. We have Mr. Kaushik and his team here to receive the honor. Time to invite the next organization as well. Ladies and gentlemen, let the smiles continue as I now invite HK Designs India. Among the world's top 3 leading manufacturers of diamond and gemstone studded jewelry. So we need to shine up that applause there. Ladies and gentlemen, HK Designs India. And with that, as we march ahead, ladies and gentlemen, time to also honor the next brand. We're talking about HDFC Ergo General Insurance Company Private Limited. Built on the premises of the seed values, sensitivity, excellence, ethics, and dynamism, these values are the driving force for the entire organization. And now let me also invite the next organization, ladies and gentlemen, Heikel Limited. May I please invite the entire team of Heikel Limited, a company that's built on enduring relationships with 34 years of legacy. And the company imbibes a sense of fulfillment and makes certain that every Heikelite is always living by the core values and culture pillars of the company. Well, the next organization making it to the most preferred workplace is also a one-stop solution for all the construction materials. We're talking about Infra Market. Please put your hands together, ladies and gentlemen, for Infra Market. Congratulations to the entire team. We love how everyone is not going to wait for the photographer to capture photos. We'll take it in our mobile phones so that we can immediately post it on LinkedIn as well. Please do so. It's important. But do mention most preferred workplaces 2022. And with that, let's also have a dynamic round of applause for the next organization. We're talking about JMS Mining Private Limited. We'd like to invite the entire team to please come on stage. A pioneer and market leader in implementation of mass production technology in underground coal mining in India. Well, they say a diamond is a woman's best friend, but I'm sure we all love diamonds, we all love gold. If you're all jewelry fans, can we have a round of applause for the next organization, Kirtilal Kalidas Jewelers. With a journey that began in 1939 in Coimbatore, with their very first retail store offering the finest quality of diamond and gold jewelry in intricate designs. Kirtilal Kalidas Jewelers. You know, ladies and gentlemen, applause is very charismatic. You applaud, so when it's your turn, they will applaud for you. So let's keep that applause going and let's invite Manaviya Development and Finance Private Limited, the next organization that's being honored as the most preferred workplace 2022, Manaviya Development and Finance Private Limited. On that befitting note, let's now invite the next organization. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Malabar Group. At the core of the organization, they always try to make an impact on the lives of people that they are with, and they're someone who don't differentiate between employees and the customers. Malabar Group, ladies and gentlemen. We're living in times where both the health of wealth and the wealth of health are equally important. Let's now hear it for MD India Health Insurance TPA Private Limited. A highly professional team of about 8,000 people and more than 150 branches and regional offices pan-India. MD India Health Insurance TPA Private Limited. Ladies and gentlemen, if there was one sector that was massively disrupted during the pandemic, it was healthcare. We need to have a special round of applause for Medica Super Specialty Hospital, the next brand that's being felicitated here as the most preferred workplace 2022. One of the most respected and trusted healthcare providers in Eastern India. Well, as we talk about the next organization, I want you all to come together and have a youthful round of applause like how we were when we were children in school. Because the next organization is Nirja Modi School. Ladies and gentlemen. The school has metamorphosized into a progressive K-12 institution as well. So congratulations. You know, I love to see the interaction between our recipients and our guests as well. It's wonderful. It's absolutely beautiful. And so I'm going to request you all to now come together for a round of cheer for our next brand. We're talking about Nexus Malls. I'm a shopping fan. You're all a shopping fan. So let's hear it for Nexus Malls as well. They're not here. Acha, they're busy shopping for themselves. Okay, not a problem. We'll go ahead. And let's invite the next brand. We're talking about NTPC Limited. Huge round of cheer there for NTPC Limited. We have with us Dilip Kumar Patel and his team to receive the honor. Now, as I invite the next brand, ladies and gentlemen, please fill your applause with a lot of aura and a lot of energy because their jewelry certainly does have that and more. We're talking about Aura Fine Jewelry Private Limited. Please put your hands together, ladies and gentlemen. Suddenly there is silence. We prefer that kind of an inverse proportion. When the music goes low, let the applause go high. Well, taking the felicitations forward, ladies and gentlemen, up next, let's invite Pearl Global Industries Limited, a multinational, multi-product apparel manufacturing company that provides end-to-end supply chain solutions to brands across the globe. I believe we don't have a representation, but I've been informed that we have a video from Pearl Global Industries. I'm going to check with my team. Do we have the video ready? Yes, we do. So I'm going to request our guests to also take a look at the video. This is a video message from our recipient from Pearl Global Industries Limited.
Hello everyone. This is a great news that Pearl Global has been selected as most preferred workplace for 2022. It's a great honor and it's a great encouragement for us to do even better. I would like to thank the organizer and the selection committee for selecting us for this great honor. And although I am not able to join this celebration or this event personally, I would like to extend my warmest wishes to everyone and to all other fellow organizations who have received this title. And I hope that this event is a resounding success. Thank you so much.
Congratulations to the entire team at Pearl Global Industries Limited. And on that note, let's also invite the next organization. Poonawalla FinCorp. Ladies and gentlemen. We have Mr. Manish Chaudhary and the entire team here from Poonawalla FinCorp to receive the honor. And now, ladies and gentlemen, let's have a wealthy round of applause as I invite Quint Financial Technologies Private Limited to please come on stage as well. Louder round of applause. I know it's lunchtime, it's hungry time, but let's keep that applause going. Thank you, sir. Thank you for that. Well, I do realize that with the term vaccination, that happened when we were kids and of course happened even 2 years ago. The term vaccination, vaccines were completely part of everyone's lives. Ladies and gentlemen, let's have a special round of applause as we now invite on stage Serum Institute of India. Most Preferred Workplace 2022. A front-runner in the global vaccine manufacturing industry that has been working towards the right of high-quality and affordable healthcare for children through immunization. And with that, may I now invite our next organization on the stage, Singereni International Limited. We love the smiles. We need to also ensure that we have that smiling round of applause there. Singereni International Limited, ladies and gentlemen. Congratulations to the team. And now we'd like to invite on stage Syngenta India. Let's put our hands together, ladies and gentlemen. A leading science-based agri-tech company that has a rich legacy of almost a century, transforming how crops are grown in India through the application of innovative crop solutions. Most Preferred Workplace 2022, and the next brand that's being felicitated, let's hear it for Tanla Platforms Limited, ladies and gentlemen. Well, as I talk about the next organization that's being felicitated this afternoon, a legacy brand that stands for innovation and culture, and also, Vivek, you briefly mentioned them while you were sharing your thoughts. We're talking about Tata Consultancy Services, ladies and gentlemen. Dr. Ritu Anand joining in to also receive the honor. On that dynamic note, let's march ahead, invite our next organization. Well, they definitely are a company that's building impactful digital products and solutions for their customers. We're talking about Tavant. Please put your hands together, ladies and gentlemen, as we invite the team from Tavant to please come on stage. Ladies and gentlemen, time to hit the acceleration button out there for the applause, because the next brand that's being felicitated is Tech Mahindra. Huge round of applause, everyone. Congratulations to the entire team. The next organization, ladies and gentlemen, Vijaya Diagnostic Center Limited. Can we have a huge round of applause for Vijaya Diagnostic Center Limited? I believe the team isn't here. So then let's move ahead and let's invite Yota Infrastructure. Backed by India's leading real estate, energy and construction major, the Hiranandani Group. This in fact is India's youngest managed data center and enterprise technology service provider, none other than Yota Infrastructure. Congratulations. I know I mentioned that we're going in an alphabetical order, so as you can notice, we're inching closer and closer towards the end. So let's keep that tempo on, let's keep that momentum on. Let's hear it for Zaggle Prepaid Ocean Services. Zaggle is a profitable SaaS fintech company that is digitizing business spends to drive growth and unlock value through innovative and automated workflows. Well, we're talking about the next organization that really deserves an entertaining round of applause. Z Entertainment Enterprises. Ladies and gentlemen. But we must thank Z because they've been entertaining us all these years, so thank you. That being said, let's move ahead and invite Z-Work Manufacturing to please come on stage. The next organization under the Most Preferred Workplace 2022. Z-Work Manufacturing. And ladies and gentlemen, the final recipient of the Most Preferred Workplace 2022, please put your hands together for Zydus Life Sciences Limited. I'm guessing the team isn't here, but congratulations to the entire team at Zydus Life Sciences Limited. On that note, can we all come together and have one final round of applause for all the brands, all the organizations that are truly setting an example for everybody out there. And as we also thank our very, very special guests here, I'm going to please invite Rajesh Khubchandani to please come on stage. And if I may also invite Akash Tiwari to please come on stage, to please join Sharad in order to felicitate Zinat Amanji as well as Vivek Oberoi for their valuable presence here, making this felicitation truly, truly special. Rajesh, let's have you as well on stage to please felicitate Zinat Amanji as the evergreen star of the silver screen. I can see all those smiles widen out there. The evergreen star of the silver screen, ladies and gentlemen. And let's also have a huge round of applause for the multifaceted showbiz icon, Mr. Vivek Oberoi. It's indeed a starry afternoon in the presence of the superstars and all our stars over here as well. Thank you so much. And I'm going to thank you once again, Vivek. Thank you, Zina ji. Thank you so much for gracing the occasion. Means a lot indeed. On that beautiful note, we come to the end of this beautiful event, the Most Preferred Workplace 2022. And we'd like to also thank all our members of the audience for joining us, our speakers as well, for sharing their valuable thoughts with us. And once again, congratulations to all the organizations that are truly setting an example. Thank you once again. And as they say, it's not over until it's over. It's time to carry forward the conversations and celebrations over lunch. So I'm going to invite you all cordially to please join in for lunch as well. And in case any selfies, anything to take, the stage is right over here. Please go ahead and make the most of it. I'm Kavya Archavli signing off this afternoon. Thank you so much again. Take care.
The smallest of ideas can have the biggest impact, changing the world. It can make people prosper, and economies flourish. Bringing communities to life. It can bring people together and accelerate growth. At Team Marksmen, We believe in the power of ideas, bringing together great minds to inspire change that leaves a lasting legacy for this generation and the next. We engage with leading minds to delve into the most pressing issues facing industry and society. Our understanding of diverse industries' global and institutional context, their sector dynamics, and macroeconomic environment helps us create solutions that advance industry and the practice of management. And together, celebrate those that have made a difference to the community and nation through signature events that turn the spotlight on them. No matter the